आते हैं, थोड़ी बहुत शर्म शोभा करते हैं, फिर चलाना तो पड़ता है पेट के लिए। बोलते हैं कि हटा लो अभी, इसके लिए बाद में कर लेना, तो उसी हिसाब से हम कर लेते हैं। मैंने
The way we are enforcing measures to control the air pollution, this disproportionately affects the poorest people of our society, particularly migrant workforce.
कम भी करना पड़ा, अगर कम होता है, कम भी करना पड़ता है, ज़्यादा भी रखना पड़ता है, वो तो अब मेहनत करना पड़ता है।
Winter in Delhi isn't just cold, it's toxic. A 2016 IIT Kanpur report commissioned by Delhi government found that cooking fires and wood fuel contributed up to 26% of city's PM 2.5. Anti-pollution measures are imposed to stop the emission of PM 2.5 and other harmful gases linked to serious respiratory diseases. Since 2017, every smog season triggers GRAP or Graded Response Action Plan. When air quality tanks to severe Stage 3 or 4 kicks in, banning all coal or biomass-based cooking devices like tandoors, ovens, and barbecues across the city. And if someone breaks the rule, they face fines ranging from 5,000 to 1 lakh rupees plus potential seizure of their equipment or carts. The major part of Delhi's street food economy runs on coal and wood fire and the labor of migrants. The Nankhatai biscuit seller, the bhutta vendors on every corner, and kebab makers in Nizamuddin and Chandni Chowk. Together they form an informal economy that by some estimates support tens and thousands of workers, most of whom are from Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and other states. But now, Delhi's tightening pollution norms are targeting the very fuel that defines this food. Anantram is one of thousands of migrant workers whose livelihood depends on small coal-fired carts. He has lived and worked in Delhi for the last 15 years.
चलता है, आप जानते ही हो, थोड़ा बहुत तो मान लो करनी पड़ती है। आते हैं, थोड़ी बहुत शर्म शोभा करते हैं, फिर चलाना तो पड़ता है पेट के लिए, गुजारा तो करेंगे ही।
तो डर नहीं लगा रहता है आपको?
डर तो लगा रहता है सर, क्या करें, लेकिन काम तो करना है, बच्चे तो पालने ही है ना। तो वो भी आते हैं, बोलते हैं कि हटा लो अभी, इसके लिए बाद में कर लेना, तो उसी हिसाब से हम कर लेते हैं मैनेज। और क्या करें, उनको भी पता है कि गरीब आदमी कहाँ जाएगा, बच्चे हैं पालने भाई।
But each winter, when air quality deteriorates and authorities enforce GRAP 3 and 4 restrictions, vendors like him face fines, equipment seizures, and forced eviction. Restrictions also affect Delhi's wider non-vegetarian industry. With nearly 90% of workforce made up of migrant workers, the sector is deeply vulnerable to any disruption. During GRAP stages 3 and 4 enforcement, restaurants and dhabas switch from coal to gas, a temporary fix that keeps them legally compliant but comes at a cost. Owners of these restaurants say the transition notably affects the taste, speed, the character of dishes that have been coal-fired for decades. For now, there is no better option, so they comply.
The gas ones, they take longer time to, the grill, when you grill the meat, it takes longer. The flavors are lost. And also the same quality, you are not able to produce the same quality which you are able to produce in a coal-based tandoor or a grill.
आपको कभी स्टाफ कम करना पड़ा अब जो बैन हुई थी? नहीं, कम भी करना पड़ा, अगर कम होता है, कम भी करना पड़ता है, ज़्यादा भी रखना पड़ता है, वो तो अब मेहनत करना पड़ता है। और वो कहाँ के हैं? सब आउट ऑफ दिल्ली है, कोई दिल्ली के कोई आउट ऑफ दिल्ली, कोई यूपी के, कोई बिहार के, सब मिक्स है, सब ऐसे ही चलता है गाड़ी।
According to Janpahal, a non-profit organization that works for the welfare of street hawkers in many cities across India, there are thousands of vendors in Delhi's weekly and roadside markets using coal or firewood to prepare and sell food. The organization argues the pollution restrictions, while well-intentioned, disproportionately impacts the informal sector, workers who have no alternative fuel source and no financial cushion to absorb the switching cost.
So on a daily basis, we receive complaints from our members, from street vendors, that their tandoor has been seized, their cooking ware has been seized. So they are not allowed to use any kind of cooking activity out in the open, and it takes place on a daily basis. But during winter, when the air quality is quite low, and when there is graph 4 in particular, their livelihood is badly impacted. They are not allowed at all to operate, even if they are not using coal or any other dirty energy sources. They are simply evicted from the streets. So I think our measures sometimes are not only insensitive, but also hard and blind to the fact that we are not solving the issue, but we are just beating the bush. For instance, Delhi is heavily populated by migrant workforce, and to cater them, the popular dishes which traditionally have been prepared using coal, like litti chokha. Then you also have people who are using coal for tandoors and for baking peanuts. So there are multiple recipes and preparations which requires coal traditionally, and that is still being used to, I will say, great extent in Delhi. And that is a cause of worry for all of us, because Delhi has almost become a city which is non-livable because of the air quality, and this is a concern for everybody, including the people who are using coal. The number is huge, but the solution is not that we just ask them to stop using coal. Solution lies in helping them transit to alternate source of energy.
What is just transition? In a podcast with the migration story, senior lead at International Energy Transition at Duke University, Dr. Sandeep Pai explains.
In the US, it started in the oil industry, where labor unions in US came together with environmental groups to say, like, can we come to an agreement where we can protect the environment but also save jobs? Because at that point in US, there was a lot of contestation around jobs versus environment. So the labor groups and the very ardent environmental groups came together, invoked the term just transition. So transitioning to a cleaner system, but that also protects the rights and livelihoods of the workers. But, this term used to be in the fringes. It used to be more prominent in global north for a very, very, very long time. It's only in the 90s, when the climate negotiations started in the context of climate change, that some groups, again on the fringes, attending these climate summits, started talking about just transition and the need to protect workers, the need to protect communities, etc. But it's fast forward, and that slowly started diffusing in, again, very much in global north context, except South Africa, where in the late 90s, early 2000s, some chatter around just transition in the labor movement and the environmental movement started. But it's only when the Paris Climate Accord was signed in 2015, where almost 200 countries decided to meet a target of 1.5 or 2 degrees Celsius. A just transition was in the preamble. There's a big paragraph around protecting workers, providing jobs, etc. And that's when this became a mainstream topic in the climate energy discussion, that we need to think about it.
A just transition is differently just, and we have to see who it is just for and who it is unjust for. It's not a blanket unjust transition or a blanket just transition. What may be just for the middle class and the majority of citizens in the city with any transition may be unjust for particular segments who are economically affected. It may be unjust for other segments whose health hasn't really improved despite the transition. They might be working longer hours on so-called improved technologies. So I think one has to look at it in a very stratified way, what a just transition can mean.
The migration story.